This is Your City Could Be Better, because it could be. I'm David Plotz. If you love your city and still complain about it, you're in the right place. One of my all-time favorite episodes of Your City Could Be Better was about how Samaritan vigilantes have been building bus stop benches across Nashville. And it turns out that kindly urban guerrillas are not unique to Nashville. They are operating in other cities too. So I'm joined today by Hope Henchy. Hello, Hope.
Hi.
Hope makes videos about cities, and she lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And she's here to talk about some of the wonderful ways that the people of Chattanooga are sneakily and secretly fixing up their city and using mutual aid to build community. So Hope Henchy, welcome to Your City Could Be Better.
Thank you.
What is the Chattanooga Urbanist Society?
Okay, so their motto is doing it our damn selves, and it's a very loose organization. It's not a nonprofit, and it's kind of secretive, like who's involved. My friend who helped start it described it as it's 3 raccoons in a trench coat trying to get stuff done. So every time that we have a project, it just like goes out on the Instagram, and it's just like we don't know who will show up, but it's pretty cool, like what we've been able to get done and what we're working on. So we kind of do things that are not necessarily legal, but that are good for the city.
I cannot wait to get into some. All right, so start with a couple of examples. What are some of the things that you all have done or that the other raccoons have done?
Well, the main thing is the benches, and we work with We work with a specific vigilante in town who is kind of known as like Chatta Transit, but his name's Corey. Everybody knows him. And he's actually on the board of CARTA, which is our transit authority. And so he has been able to bring about some really great change, like officially, but then unofficially, he also started making benches for bus stops, and he's placed, I think, over 200 between his work and the Chattanooga Urbanist Society. And then he partnered with a society of like kind of old ladies who funded a bunch of benches, and then a high school built a whole bunch. It's been a definite like community effort to place all these benches around the city, and then we have local artists paint them. And I walk a lot. I take my kids for walks a lot. So I have personally benefited from the benches. And whenever I'm in other cities and I have to stand at a bus stop, I'm like, where are the community built benches? Like Chattanooga's kind of spoiled me. And
200 is a lot. 200 is a lot.
It's a lot, and it costs about $40 in materials to make each one, and it's a lot of time and effort. So whenever the Chattanooga Urbanist Society builds them, we have people sanding wood, we have people cutting wood, we have people putting them together, and it's just really cool making them in batches and meeting cool people while we do it. Because I think we think volunteering has to be a sacrifice or hard, but when you make it fun and lighthearted, it's like you find flow, and it's just like it's a good time. The benches are actually on the Atlas Obscura website too. So we have our own little entry because they're really cool, and it's almost like something, if you go to Chattanooga, you should look for the benches because there are a bunch of them.
So the benches. What other activities is the Urbanist Society undertaking?
Well, one thing that we do is a little bit before Christmas, like it's mid-December, I think. CARTA has a program where if you bring cans of food to the bus stop, like if you bring a can of food, you get a free bus ride. And so in the middle of the night, we dropped off like hundreds of cans of food at different bus stops around town, which serves the purpose of donating the cans of food to the food bank, which is the point of the promotion, and giving people free bus rides, and just making people think that we've thought of them, and encouraging people to ride the bus if it's free. So that's one of them. We also have an advocacy group called Strong Chattanooga, which does things a little bit more by the book and legally. And they kind of took over this project. In my neighborhood, I live in a disinvested neighborhood, and there are a lot of families in it, but we don't have sidewalks. There's no way for the kids of the neighborhood to walk to the $2 million park that's like right by us without having to come in close contact with cars. It's very sketchy. But there is a patch of woods that are it's kind of a scary patch of woods that connects the street with a bunch of families on it to a really nice park. So Strong Chattanooga is making a path through the woods that didn't exist before. And so when I told the neighborhood kids about that, I was like, you guys, you can walk to the tienda now and to the park, like without having to go on the street. They freaked out. And so they do things like that where it's like, it's not legal, but it's good.
I love it. It's not legal, but it's pause. Good. So how many people do you think are involved in the Chattanooga Urbanist Society?
Who knows? And it's different every time we have an event. Like, you don't know who'll show up. We do a lot of litter pickups. We've done some really cool litter pickups around town that made a big difference. The mayor came to one of them. So the mayor and city government are aware of it. And we kind of just want it to be like where they overlook it, you know? But it was cool that the mayor even came to a Chattanooga Urbanist Society pickup one time. Also, there are some vigilantes who just do things on their own. Like one of my friends, he makes encouraging signs. He just like takes old like political signs or whatever that he can find or pieces of wood and puts like encouraging things like you deserve a gold star or like immigrants are welcome or things like that. He's made over 2,000 of them and he puts them around the city. And that's also illegal, but it's like really nice to see sometimes. So usually, you know, over time the signs get taken down or whatever, but when you're having a bad day and you see something that is affirming, just like beautifully put, like on a wooden pole, it encourages you and it makes a big difference. And he also,
God, that is so good.
Yeah. And he also, I actually went to this a couple days ago to check on it and it's still there. About 2 years ago, he made a sidewalk. There's a school and he lives in a different disinvested neighborhood in our city. And the school, like right by the school, there's this patch where there's no sidewalk to the homes near the school. And, there's an old unused like rail line through it. So I don't know, legal complications. There is no sidewalk there. And so he was like, I'll just make one. So he brought like lawn gear and mowed everything down and put down wood chips and painted concrete blocks and put concrete blocks on the sides. And then he made a sign that said sidewalk with a down arrow and put that up on a pole and made a sidewalk. And I mean, no, it's not ADA accessible. Like it's not perfect, you know, but it's something. And kids don't have to go into the street to get to their school now. They can walk on the sidewalk.
So how has the government of Chattanooga responded to this? Because just to go backwards, and I remember in our Nashville episode, in Nashville, it wasn't 100% enthusiasm from the government. In fact, they took some of the benches away because they said that they're blocking the sidewalks. How is your city, your mayor? It sounds like your mayor, at least, is not totally objecting. But what's happening?
We're really lucky. A lot of other cities where the city's more involved or more focused on making a pristine environment, they'll take away tactical urbanism projects like this, but we've been able to get away with a lot of it. And usually the benches aren't messed with. We do sometimes put like a bike lock, like just a cheap lock around the base of the bench to the whatever bus stop sign we're attaching it to. But they don't usually get damaged or taken away. There's near where I live, there's a neighborhood that was Chattanooga's first white planned community. And it's in the middle of a poorer neighborhood, but it's completely cut off from them. It's called Ferger Place, if you want to look it up. It's a very interesting situation. So we put benches by there because there's a bus stop across the street, and those benches disappeared almost immediately. And Corey told me that usually it's not people stealing the benches, it's rich people who don't want people to be sitting around where they live.
There were a couple other examples I read about. Maybe, I don't know if these are your friends. It sounds like you're plugged into the vigilante community. The pothole vigilante. Who's the pothole vigilante? What do they do? Okay,
so there are a few different pothole vigilantes around America, and I'm friends with a couple of them. There's the Buffalo Pothole Bandit, and the Buffalo Pothole Bandit came to visit one time and collaborated with our local pothole vigilante, who is Potholes.
It's a super group, vigilante pothole super group.
Potholes of Chattanooga. So Potholes of Chattanooga, got frustrated with how many flat tires they were getting when driving around town when they first moved here. And so they decided to fill the potholes themselves, but do it in like a cute way. This person is a mosaicist. So they make a smiley face. Usually it's a smiley face mosaic. And then, they work really fast, really sneakily. And so measure it, get it all ready, put it on like this sticky mesh stuff, and then put it in, then fill in the hole and put in the mosaic and then leave. And it dries like in 15 minutes.
Do you know the Chattanooga guy person?
Oh, yeah.
Human?
Yeah.
And
I've made I've filled in some potholes myself. And it's really cool. Like it's something that you can invite kids to do as well. Like the Buffalo Pothole Bandits potholes uses a lot of trinkets and letters. And so whenever we work on filling in potholes, we just invite local kids who are walking by to help.
how does the city respond to that? Because again, I mean, some street, if you were a city, you don't want your potholes filled in badly. You presumably want them filled in well. And it might be annoying to you if this is being done badly, or if you feel like you're being shamed because someone's doing your job better than you can do it.
Right. Since it's so positive and it's smiley faces, we're not doing like, you should have done it yourself, Chattanooga. I think it's whimsical, and the potholes person is in talks with TDOT and the city. So I think sometimes it can be a little bit of tension, but overall they overlook it because they like that it's what makes Chattanooga Chattanooga.
Why does Chattanooga need this help? Is it because your government is incompetent or under-resourced or both?
There's definitely an imbalance in investment. And that's why I do a lot of walk audits and basically just like complain on video of like, how come when I walk here, the sidewalks are crumbling or non-existent, and then whenever I go over to this neighborhood, they're perfect? Like, help me understand. So yeah, I think there's just a lot of disparity. And, Chattanooga is definitely a comeback city. Like Walter Cronkite called it the dirtiest city in America or whatever. It was very industrial, and there's a lot of history here. But we're like really resilient, and like everyone I know who lives here, like we really like living here, So everybody who is involved in stuff like really cares, and it's not hard to find people who care.
You kind of ignored my question about the government. So I'm going to try it again. Does it seem like, is your government like trying to address some of these problems themselves? Like they're seeing that they have urban vigilantes, they've got pothole filler. Are they now saying, okay, we got to get a handle on this? Or are they just sort of like, okay, good, the community will take care of it?
I think they're doing okay. I wouldn't say we have like an all-star city council. That's another thing we do is like we complain at city council a lot. But like, it's really cool because we do see progress eventually. Like sometimes, like we've gone to city council and complained about Vision Zero so many times. Like we're like, we've got to end pedestrian fatalities or just all fatalities from traffic. And just recently they adopted Vision Zero and said the goal is by 2050. And we're like, well, that's kind of a long way away to really make progress towards preventable problems. But so I think they listen, and a real strategy has been, how can we help the city take credit for the stuff that we're doing? Like, how can we make the city look good by the stuff that we're doing? So at first with the benches, they were maybe not super stoked about it, but now it's like, it's on Atlas Obscura. Like, this is something cool about Chattanooga. So I think as long as we try to make them look good, they at least overlook it.
So speaking of Vision Zero, have there been tactical urbanism efforts around traffic and traffic safety?
Yeah, one thing that the Chattanooga Urbanist Society did was they made signs of like when people have been hit by a car, they put like a date and then they spray painted like a little guy getting hit by a car and they put that on the sign at the intersection where that happened. So that's one thing that can be done. But another is my friend John found a grant from a realtors association and was able to get a bunch of people together to do some daylighting in an area near a school. And daylighting is the unsexy way to fight traffic fatalities. If you don't know what daylighting is, it
I do not.
increases.
What is daylighting?
It increases visibility around corners. So a lot of times people will park right up to the intersection.
Yeah.
So then if you're turning, you can't see if people are crossing the street or not. And so whenever you put like posts or something else there, that can prevent people from doing that. And in Hoboken, New Jersey, they haven't had a traffic fatality since 2017. And so I went to Hoboken a few months ago and I was like, okay, what's their secret? Like, how have they actually ended people getting hit by cars? And as boring as it is, like, they have daylighting at every intersection pretty much. So it's a very effective way of helping people see who's around them. And so John was able to get that grant through the Realtors Association, and then people were able to do the daylighting project and put cool paint that's like in Chattanooga colors and everything. And so I walk that all the time and bike it with my kids, and it's significantly safer. Cars are way more aware of the humans around them.
So you've been talking about tactical urbanism and infrastructure, but all these infrastructure efforts, the things you're describing are all sort of a subset of mutual aid.
Yeah.
Are there other examples of mutual aid which aren't necessarily the built environment that Chattanooga manifests, that Chattanooga does well with?
Yeah, we have something called a Chattanooga Free Store, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You can go in and everything's free. And on their website, they say solidarity, not charity. So it's very much like a mutual aid thing, not a, we have so much and we're giving it to you, but we all have needs, and so we all can meet each other's needs. But I think a lot of the mutual aid stuff is just organic. Like on my own street, my neighbor will watch my kids when I have a meeting or something, and I can watch her kids. And it's just a matter of texting each other and saying like, hey, I have a need. Can you do this? And we find that it makes it easier for both of us because the kids play together. So then the parent isn't needed as much. So mutual aid can look like a lot of different things.
You've been doing a good job sort of PRing Chattanooga here, and Chattanooga is a city you've chosen. You live there on purpose.
Yeah.
How did you find out about Chattanooga? What spoke to you about it? Why did you move there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I lived in the suburbs of Tampa, Florida. That's where I mostly grew up and started raising my family. And I always say that's what radicalized me for urbanism, because even when I was 7, I was like, this isn't it. This isn't how humans are supposed to live. Just separated from each other. Everything's a chain. You don't rely on each other. You don't have to. It's hyper individualistic, and it just felt wrong my whole life. And then when I was married, we had an RV and we traveled for 15 months. We lived in an RV with all 5 kids. And so I got to see more of America.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is a terrible thought.
It was great. It was really good until it wasn't,
So terrible.
You don't realize it's overstimulating until it's like past the point, where it's like, yeah, we really should have moved in a house sooner. But it was good. But as we were traveling around, we spent 6 weeks in Chattanooga, and I was like, I think I'm going to do an experiment where I don't do any online shopping. I shop at Walmart as minimal as possible. I just want to shop local because that's something you can do here. So I went to the farmer's market for my groceries, and it was just so invigorating to know where my money was going and to talk to the farmer who raised the cows and stuff like that. And leaving Chattanooga was really hard for the whole family, and we were just like, we've got to get back here. So we moved to Chattanooga 2 months after everything, directly from the RV to here.
Oh, man. So, Hope, before we end this main segment, what is something that listeners in other cities can take away from this to make their own city a little bit better?
I think asking what will give people dignity and make people feel thought of. And I do think benches are the best place to start. I have sat on Chattanooga-style benches in Buffalo, and they're doing them in Chicago and in Spokane. It really, in Nashville, like you said, it really is a movement. And there are plans online for free. Cut the wood and then it fits like a jigsaw puzzle. And I did that in a room with people where they just had the pieces of the bench, and and they just had a race to see who could build the benches the fastest with no instructions, and they did it in a few minutes. So you can build benches even if you don't have a lot of like woodworking knowledge, and that it increases ridership on the bus, which increases walkability and makes parking better. It's crazy how like all this stuff adds on top of each other to make our cities better. So I think pushing for transit, and also just like taking the bus. Every time you take the bus, you're voting with your body and saying like, this is something people use. It should get more funding. And that happens every time we go to the library or ride our bikes or walk. So I think voting with your body is one of the biggest steps. Another thing is walk audits, where you just get some friends together and say like, let's set a timer for an hour and see what we learn, and then just walk around a neighborhood and make observations.
What do you do with those observations? You then send them to somebody, or
just post about it, or go to city council and talk about it.
Okay.
City councilors have told me like they really appreciate when people come. They want people to come, and your voice might matter more than you think.
We're in peak berry season, and Grand Central Bakery, on top of their delicious hand pies and muffins, is debuting their brown butter almond tart with fresh strawberries, which sounds delicious. It has a butterscotchy shortbread base with rich almond cream baked into the crust and is topped with sweet local berries. They're sourcing them from Unger Farms, a fourth-generation family farm in Washington County, and the wheat for the flour is from Chimacum Valley Granary, which uses regenerative practices promoting healthy soil. All of their baking is, of course, done in-house, and Grand Central Bakery has been operating locally and independently since 1989. That's longer than our senior producer, Julia Fiaioni, has been alive. Now, you know we don't get to decide when the berry season ends, so you're going to want to try these tarts soon before they're gone. You can order online at grandcentralbakery.com or in person at any of their 8 neighborhood locations.
Okay, Hope Henchy. We're going to now go to our word on the street segment, a little bit lighter, off kilter. Mountains versus rivers. Which is better for a city to have? Is it better to have mountains nearby, a river nearby? You come from a place that has both. Which is superior?
I like mountains better. Because you can see over, like this week I saw the sunrise from the overlook of one mountain, and then I went to another mountain to watch the sunset at a different overlook. And I think awe is really important, and I like watching how cities function. So I'm a big fan of mountains personally. How about you?
Well, I hate water generally, and I'm afraid of water, so I also support mountains. But rivers are so important kind of to the life of cities. They've been the kind of engines of economic commerce, and they obviously are sources of energy, sources of water, sources of kind of vitality and transportation historically. I live in a city that has a big river, but mountains are a little bit further away, in the Potomac River, and I do love the Potomac. I guess I think I'm in favor of rivers, even though okay. I love a mountain. I do love a mountain.
I'm intrigued by cities like Atlanta and Indianapolis, where they don't have a lot of like natural things going for them. It's just like, let's build a city.
It's really, actually, now that you mention that, those two cities. No, no shade on Atlanta. I hope I'm looking around to see whether Indianapolis and Atlanta are watching me. I don't like either of those cities, and maybe it's because they don't have a river or mountains.
That could be it.
That is a good question. Are there other cities that don't have either rivers or mountains? I mean, most cities have a river. I think Indianapolis does have a river, doesn't it? It has something.
They have a canal. Yeah, maybe they have something. I don't know. I'm sure Indianapolis listeners are going to Yeah, sorry, never mind. That might not have been a good point.
They're going to come for you. They're going to come for you. You're a content creator. No more. They're not going to welcome you in Indianapolis. Hope Henchy, thank you so much for coming on Your City Could Be Better.
Oh, thanks for having me.
That's all for today's episode of Your City Could Be Better. I'm your host, David Plotz. Our producers are Aria Bracci and Priyanka Tilve. Our music is by Carl Christensen. If you are enjoying the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show. Leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back next week with another episode of Your City Could Be Better. Till then, I'll see you on the bench.